I want you guys to make some noise for Cisco and Mike.
Thank you for the free work. You know, we don't pay him.
Yeah, we call them interns. You know, that's how you get them to do things for free.
Whatever's free, bro. Anyways, thank you guys.
Yeah.
We want to say thank you for coming out, for making it out here. I know people came here from far away, and we want to say we appreciate you guys. Go for it.
You know, it's been an interesting ride for us. So we started a podcast just from being friends since third or fourth grade? Fifth grade.
He doesn't even remember.
As you get older, you know, you start forgetting. So,
Yeah.
But yeah, since fifth grade, and we always talked about it, and we finally decided to do a podcast. Why? We don't know. I mean, everybody now has a freaking podcast, so I don't know what makes it special, but hey, it's working. So
Yeah, I mean, we are the yin and yang. He's totally different than me, so we kind of we work together with each other, so it's cool.
That's one of his jokes, actually.
That is not a joke.
But it's funny because everything so far, you know, I think if you just put in the time and you put in the work, things happen to align. For us, things just happen to work out. We put in the time. Episode 49, we did it in front of a 49er game. So that was interesting.
Go Raiders, okay? I'm
He
a
was
Raider
wearing
fan.
his Raider jersey.
I was representing the Raiders, by the way. So
Episode 50, we ended up having a live show here around our favorite holiday, actually, which is Halloween. And it's pretty funny because I love Halloween and he loves Halloween, but I don't know why you like Halloween when you're so scared of everything.
Go ahead and say it. He's going to call me a pussy. I am a pussy when it comes to scary shit. I'm the guy that runs by and turns on the light like this and shit.
See, but let me put it into context. Let me put it into context so you know how much of a pussy he is. So I have a guest room downstairs, right? And every time he sleeps over, he has to leave the kitchen light on, the restroom light on, and the TV on.
Fuck that.
So I never understood why Halloween is such a big thing for him.
I guess one of the things, like my mom was my biggest thing in my life. You know, my relationship with my dad was not that great. So one of the things that me and my mom used to watch was scary movies. We used to watch Freddy Krueger.
Damn.
Yeah, I was fucking scared shitless, but my mom would watch it. So it's just good memories, you know. You dress up. I remember one year we didn't have money, and I was very creative. I put a sign, and it said homeless. And I put it on me, and I said, fuck it. I'm going to go out and trick-or-treat, right? Because I want candy.
Hey, you're asking for donations, but candy donations.
So it was crazy because I went out to trick-or-treat as a homeless. I was dressed up as a homeless, and I was getting money. I was like, what the fuck? I want fucking candy. I don't want money. So, I don't know. That's crazy.
Hey, shout out to my mom because she never made me watch scary movies. Nunca me dejó mirar de películas de espanto. So I was one of those kids that she was like, no, you got to watch church movies and
pero
stuff.
Dona Chu tiene muchas historias del rancho,
Oh,
¿verdad?
yeah, she has
Espantosas.
the rancho stories.
Sí, yo sé que sí.
But you ready to get this thing started, Mike?
Let's go, bro.
Hey.
I know you guys are waiting for him. They're like, fuck you, Mike and Cisco. Get the fuck out the stage.
We already knew you guys are here for AJ. So we're about to bring it out. Actually, wait. Someone wanted to give us a gift, right? Before that, I
somebody brought
forgot
a gift, and we would like to get it in front of the camera.
Yeah.
We don't like these backdoor gifts. We want it in front of the camera, okay?
I want it in front
We're
of the
special
camera.
like that.
Yeah, it's you guys. You guys are like, hey, we brought you guys a little something.
I got a fan. Look at that. Oh, shit. Damn.
Hey,
Oh.
thank you. Hey, we really
you, bro.
appreciate it.
Hey, what's your number, bro? I mean,
Hey, Melvin, I guess this guy is rich, huh?
hey, no, thank you for reals. Appreciate it.
Yeah, we appreciate it. Hey, we do got a special guest, man. This guy is changing lives. He's you see him all over. He's all over the world. He's on literally every station, radio station, TV station. He's man. I'm gonna thank him right now when he gets on stage.
He's in the fifth dimension. I'm saying he's all over the place. So,
but we got AJ Barrera joining us, man. Give it up for AJ Barrera.
Mic check.
Should be good.
Mic check. Nope. Hello, guys. Hello. Mic check. Welcome, AJ. Mic check.
This is water, not vodka.
That's holy water, okay? Holy water.
Just for all you guys here tonight.
I see you guys. You guys got the devil in you, summoning you and shit.
Hey,
One of the leopard. Hey, come on. You have the devil in you. I can see it. We got AJ. He's gonna take care of you tonight.
Right?
So if some of that spits out, just take it as a good thing.
Right.
But hey, we want to thank you, AJ, man. We've had AJ on the show before. He did some amazing things. But for those, I don't know, I'm pretty sure everybody here knows who AJ Barrera is. But those that don't know AJ, tell them a little bit about what you do.
Yeah, I mean, in layman's terms, I talk to the dead. You know, I connect people with their loved ones, but also I give them advice and guidance from career, life, you know, relationships, all that good stuff. So I always tell people that I'm never really in control of what I do, even though that I am, because I believe those loved ones or the energies that need to come through in a reading are supposed to come through. A great example is because of you guys is how this is happening again. So when we talk about synchronicity, everything's about energy. So I believe with me doing this work, when I came into this work, I wasn't a big believer in psychics or mediums and so on and so forth. My whole thing was trying to not debunk, but trying to understand the process because I was always fascinated with mediums and psychics. And years later, I kind of like landed a radio gig in Burbank and on Coast 103.5. My career took off, 20 years ago. And I'm still doing this work for now 22 years. So I've been blessed. Yeah. So for me, it's just bridging two worlds is what I do. Yeah, I'm bringing healing.
And I want to thank you because we had one of the craziest experiences on our first podcast when you were on. You know, you actually connected with my dad, and you actually brought a lot of peace to a lot of the questions and a lot of the things that I had, doubts. And I know Mike had a couple of things too, which was
right.
Yeah, I mean, it was trippy because
he had us both crying.
I mean, if you haven't seen that episode, we both cry. His dad passed away a couple years ago, and I was close. I wasn't super close to his dad, but I would say I was close because I knew him growing up. And right when he was in the hospital, my mom was in the hospital at the same time. And my mom had a scare where she almost passed away. And that weekend, his dad was in the hospital. I said I was going to go visit him, and I never got the chance to visit him. And reason why was with my mom all day. And I said, man, I'll just visit him next week or in a couple of days. Never got the chance. Unfortunately, passed away. And so I always, I felt guilt for not going to say at least hi. And that day, it was crazy because my uncle had just passed away as well that year.
Right.
And when you were talking, I see a figure next to you.
Male figure, yeah.
I was like, oh, hell no, tío. You're going to give me that chinga that I owe you. Fuck. I thought he was going to give me a chinga because that fool always fucking give me a chinga. You know what I'm saying? So when you said that, I was like, what the fuck? And then you flipped it this way. And then when you started talking about his dad and all the stuff that you said that only he knew.
Yeah.
I was like, holy shit. And when you said, you told me directly, you're like, he says, don't worry about it, you're good. It was his way of telling me, I got you, you never got to visit me.
Yep.
So stop thinking about that.
100%.
So I was like, fuck, it just got me balling. So anyways.
Yeah.
Yeah, trippy. Yeah,
well, I almost had him crying in the back too. Before I gave him a little reading. Right.
Oh yeah, he gave me a reading. Yeah.
He was like, "No, bro." I go, "Yeah, bro."
Yeah, I was like, "How the fuck
you know what
do
I
you
do
know
for a living?" You know.
Yeah, I was like, "How the fuck you know?" my prima was like, "Fuck, I should charge him," because she's been telling me the same shit, but she knows,
You know, it's funny because people ask me, people that watch the episode and just know me, they talk to me and they're like, "Damn, like, what do you take away from that situation?" And I don't even know what to tell them. I don't know what to tell him. Like, what's the explanation? Things that,
right.
Even nicknames. You brought up the nickname he had for me. You know, you brought up my mom's name.
I didn't even know he had a half sister.
He didn't even know.
I did not even, and I've known him for almost 30 years.
Fifth grade.
This is fifth grade. I don't want to say my age. I'm young. Okay, I'm young. I've known him for a long time. I didn't even know he had a half sister.
Yeah.
And I was like, what the fuck? We're doing a podcast and I don't even know that?
Yeah.
But yeah, so.
Well, I always tell people, like, in a reading, any event, when I do my, any radio show, TV show, any event, podcast, I don't know what's going to happen, but I believe the messages that are supposed to come through are supposed to come through. And even the stuff that people don't know about, I always joke around at anything that I do. If you don't want to, want things exposed, like your own family secrets and history, stuff like that, don't go to a psychic. Because that may be exposed. Seriously, at least with me, I'm very honest and very blunt, as you guys watch and you guys experience. I don't censor anything. So if something is personal and stuff like that, people have. I've done readings for people where they've been in jail and they murdered someone, and that has come through, and the person's in jail. The person's there's some crazy stuff over the years of doing this work. Yeah.
AJ, I think I'm getting a little bit of it. Hold up. You're wearing red chonies. You're wearing red chonies, dog. You're trying to get laid tonight. I'm wearing red chonies. I'm just trying to.
One of the things, AJ, that I know last time we talked about the spiritual world and just your profession, but we've recently, now since we're doing the podcast, we've discovered that there's a lot of people that don't support other people. I don't understand why,
Oh, yeah.
People just have this negative attitude towards anything. Have you ever encountered that? Because, there's a lot of things, especially religion. Like I said, I grew up in a casa católica, and Dios was everything. So this kind of work sometimes is perceived as negative.
Right.
Have you ever received any backlash?
Yeah, I mean, even to this day, I mean, one thing I've learned doing this work at a young age, I started professionally. When I say professionally, meaning like on radio, like 19 years old, I was signed to Clear Channel. I was doing Coast 103, K-Big, Kiss FM, which I had no idea what the hell I was going to do because I didn't have a website, didn't have a phone number. I was giving my cell number on the radio because I didn't expect anything to happen. That one radio show turned into years of a contract, and I've been blessed with that. But over those years, I recognized that, my community would put me down because you don't speak Spanish, you don't do this, you don't do that. Why are you charging people? Why you have a gift? And I'm like, we all have a gift. Why do you go pay to go see Beyonce? Why do you go pay to go see this concert? They have a beautiful gift. Why aren't you telling them anything? So I always tell people what I do, I don't consider as a gift. It's an ability, which they all have. They learned how to sing. They learned how to, learn that craft. That's what I do. And we all have that ability to learn this craft. So when people tell me like, why are you doing this and why are you doing that? I've learned to have thick skin over the 20 years of doing this work. So for me, it's about just doing what I believe is healing people one day at a time.
That's interesting. Yeah, because I know Mike, you see, you got to develop tough skin, bro, because...
He doesn't have tough skin. He does not have tough skin. No.
Why are you
It's
hitting me
more
right
like
now?
salon.
I do like my panza, so whatever.
But obviously, like I said, last time we talked about the spiritual side, the good side of things. It is around Halloween time, so there is a lot of things. And you not only do readings, but you also have a gift of connecting with people, but you also have ghost hunting equipment, and you do paranormal investigations as well.
Yeah.
So
I do them quite often. So what we have over here displayed, and it's not turned on yet, so if the gal in the purple, there's nothing that's going to freak you out. Do you mind hitting the button right underneath? You're not going to be possessed or anything. So the device, the device on the mantle, you can lift it up, and there's a button right underneath, and just press that little black button.
Is she going to start shaking?
No, the whole world's going to start shaking.
She's one of the ones that got the free drink, so you got to be careful.
And real quick, just to make sure it's on, can you touch the antenna? Perfect, thank you.
Oh,
and then
shit.
that, and
she's
the
possessed?
one, and so the one, and you're my assistant today. And so the one that's sitting on the chair, can you hit that one, just the middle button? And then we're gonna pull out the. Do you want to do the other one? The one that's over here?
Oh yeah, Eric, can you bring that one out, bro?
Yeah. We're not gonna say what it is exactly yet.
Hey,
but can
AJ.
you place it on that mantle? Hold on, real quick.
So
and then can you turn this one around? There's going to be a button on that side. Yes. And then can you move it over to your right? Just scoot it over. Yep. All right. And so basically, these are all devices that are going to pick up EMF. Not so much our energy, unless the cameraman touches the REM pod. So what happens is that we have this other device here, which is a periscope, not the old app, but a periscope that picks up energy. And what happens is it picks up EMFs or energies that are non from human form. So even I go up to touch that device at the bottom, I'm not going to set it off. So if these devices start lighting up, and we have a Ouija board, electric Ouija board that's up there.
I was holding that one up. I didn't want to tell Mike.
No.
So like I said, Mike is scared of a lot of things. So I told AJ, hey, AJ, this is between you and I.
We also have another surprise, which we're not going to say yet.
Oh, really? Do I know
What
about that?
the
Well,
fuck
that's
did I
a
sign up
small
for?
Ouija board. That's
Okay.
electronic
Oh,
Ouija
that's
board.
right. Yeah.
Yeah. We have a different thing. We have some
Okay, hold
surprises
up.
today.
Hold up,
tonight.
AJ.
Yeah.
AJ, you don't understand, bro. I just saw The Exorcist last night, the new one.
Hey, I'm married to it.
Bro, are you trying to fuck with me today? Like, I slept with the lights on. Yes, I did. I don't give a fuck. Okay? Because my kids weren't home. They were with their mom. So I slept with the lights on.
Yeah.
So I was like, fuck it.
That's okay. And that's okay.
That brings up a good question, AJ. So, you talk about energies. Last time we talked about, you see energies and see different types of things. A lot of times positive. What about the negative things? What about like exorcisms, demonic possessions, things of that nature? Do you see that often? Do you experience that? Or how does that work?
Yeah, so those are the things that I get to experience that often. But what, at least exorcism, what I have experienced personally at one of the places that I moved into, that I was renting for about maybe 9 months, maybe not even a year, poltergeist activity. So if you guys are familiar with poltergeist, there's a lot of mischievous energy. Things will open and close and move and so on and so forth. So I remember going to go film for, I don't know, some TV show or something like that, or interview. And I had my car fixed on. My wife was at home. and the garage door was locked, which can lead into the front door or into the house. And there's a front door, and the doors were locked. So they were trying to pull in the door and trying to like say, we can't get in, we can't get in. And like, I'm driving, like, what do you want me to do? I have the keys. So I think like a couple minutes later, the door ended up just opening on its own. But when my mechanic and my wife went up there, really, really good friend of mine, all our cabinet doors were all open and our drawers. And that's what we call a poltergeist activity, because there's something paranormal that was there attached to that home.
Why do they do that? Why is it that they mess? Because growing up, I had a similar experience.
Yeah, your house was haunted, super haunted.
Yeah. My prima, she's here in the audience. She had just came here from Mexico, and her and her mom came to visit us, and they didn't believe.
So it's their fault.
No. I have a question about that, but anyways. No, they came to see us, and it was weird because they never believed us. Like, growing up, my mom, all the houses we've been to, even now, my daughters don't want to go into one specific room. Mm-hmm. And I don't want to talk about her. She knows who she is, but there's a reason why. My dad has a picture of her next to the bed, and you could feel her. You could feel her watching you. And my daughter's like, "No, Dad, there's something bad in there. We do not like it." And so this one time, my
hey, you need to limpia like the the homies.
No, it was weird, bro, because my prima had just walked in the house with her mom, and we were chilling in the living room. It was like 8, 9 o'clock at night. Nobody was in the kitchen, and I shit you not, it was as if
that's paranormal.
Is that what it is? Fuck.
No.
I'm about to run outside. No, like, no bullshit. Somebody grabbed las ollas, las cucharas, and everything from the kitchen, and they literally went and dropped them on the floor.
Yep.
And they had just walked in, and I was like, "What the fuck?" And we're like, "See, we're telling you." And we went back there and we showed them. I was like, "Yeah, everything was on the floor."
Yeah.
So why do they do that?
To get our attention. Yeah. No. They
want you to clean up after.
No, I'll tell you to experience that. And very similar. I used to take care of my little sister. Not take care of her, but pick her up from junior high school and so on and so forth, and watch her and whatever until my mom got home, prep dinner, make sure the beans are not burned and all that stuff, the whole 9 yards. So I remember one time we were, she was in the back living room, I was in my room, kind of just getting stuff together, and we heard same thing, like forks and knife, like everything just fell in the kitchen, and I thought she was in there, and I'm like, I didn't pay attention to it. So she comes in, she goes, "I thought you were in the kitchen." I'm like, "I thought you were in the kitchen." And we noticed that all the utensils were on the counter. So sometimes spirits will do that to get our attention. Not anything bad, but that could be our loved ones, our spiritual guides, trying to get our attention. When we talk about spiritual guides, we all have spiritual guides, and we have a master guide that's assigned to us, which is before we're born and after we die, they're assigned to us. Those spiritual guides are not people that we know. They're not people that are reincarnated, which are our loved ones, but they are people that had a physical incarnation. Then we have primary guides, secondary guides, tertiary guides, with all these people that are there for us for different life purposes. So when these individuals, entities, nothing bad when I say entities, but these energies are there to teach us a lesson. And that lesson could be one, grief, love, could be many different things. And for you, it could be maybe say, like, excuse my language, but wake the fuck up. So wherever you're at in your life, no, seriously, meaning like wherever you're at in your life, there could have been a turning point in your life that they're trying to get attention.
I was 8 years old, bro. Fuck.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
No.
Wake the fuck up, dog.
Yeah,
No. I started using that shit to my advantage.
Yeah. Well,
I started telling my mom, "Quemate los frijoles." Amá, fue el fantasma, mamá. Ese güey los quemó. No lavaste los trastes. I was like, "Amá, los lavé. Pinche fantasma dirty them again." Like, what the fuck? I started using that shit.
So real quick, do they appear like as are spirit guides usually family members, or are they just random people?
There are people that have physical incarnations, and there are people that we don't know. So the meaning that they're not our grandparents or aunts or uncles and so on and so forth, nor are our angels our loved ones. So every time you hear people say, "Oh, they got their wings and this and that," that's more a methodical way of thinking because we're religious or spiritual or so on and so forth. But angels never had a physical incarnation. They were created by God. So we have to think about that in religious sense. But when we think as spiritualism or reincarnation in past lives or cell memory, all those are some part of a physical incarnation that someone lived, and that could have been 300 years ago or 500 or even 200 years ago. But would I ever want my mom or my dad, my spirit guide? Absolutely not. Because no, and I mean that with all seriousness.
Te van a regañar.
And I hope they don't listen to this. And I hope they don't listen to this. But here's the thing: is that the reason why I wouldn't want them, because they haven't evolved. They haven't learned the lessons in the afterlife. So I wouldn't want someone that hasn't been involved evolved in the afterlife for so long. So for me, it's just something that I wouldn't really want to connect with. Yes, I would. Yes, they would come through and give me messages and the birds and butterflies and all that good stuff. And but to me, I don't look for that stuff. When things happen organically, where I'm like, oh, that's cool, from a loved one, then I know it's a message. But when I hear a message from my guides, it's more so their way of like telling me to pay attention. It's more of my inner thoughts saying like, listen to this, pay attention to that. So I think for when we think about guides, again, they're just individuals that are assigned to us. I don't think we choose them, but they choose us.
That's interesting because you talked about evolving right now. When my dad passed, and my mom can attest to it, a lot of his things, like the day, era el mismo día o el día después de que se murió mi papá que se cayeron las cosas de su cama, del closet. ¿Fue después o el mismo día? So,
Wow.
yeah, so that's the reason I brought up about the evolution because you said you wouldn't want to hear a message from them. Like, is there a certain thing, like, for example, that's probably my
Well,
dad.
not a message, but I wouldn't want their guidance per se.
Okay.
I wouldn't mind the message.
So,
Yeah.
so what do you mean by evolutionize in the afterworld?
Yeah, so we evolve, like we have to grow, like so kind of consider this physical realm like our high school.
Mhm.
So when we transition into the afterlife, we go to college and we evolve and continue. So we got to think there's many different levels to the afterlife. You know, they talk about nirvana and the enlightenment and so on and so forth, but we have to understand that we are on the physical realm. We are like actually, yeah, we're on the physical realm, which is the lowest realm. Then there's the mental realm, astral realm, and so on and so forth. So we have to evolve and grow to that. So think of someone like Mother Teresa or Princess Diana. They're evolved at a higher level. Someone at a certain level can move down and assist and help people, which will be called soul groups. And soul groups can actually assist other people in the physical realm, those who have passed on. People who have like soul groups that are like suicide, near-death experiences, overdoses. They work with those soul groups to bring those people over and work with them. So there's so much to it than what we think of the whole Hollywood stuff of like, oh, it's all birds and butterflies.
You
It's
just
not
go
really
straight
like
to
that.
heaven. Everybody
Yeah,
thinks.
yeah, and I think it's more so the evolution of the soul, and it takes years for us to come back. Now, if we're thinking like thinking about like more of like religious or spirituality, like Buddhists believe that we come back as a bird, and sometimes they will see as a bird on their shoulders, like, hey, we talk to that bird, or we come back as an animal. As we look at the Torah, there's 7 different levels of heaven. So we look at things and we see as religion as part of unity. It's part of one. It's just someone who wrote it or created or someone that knew that person, if you will. And I think we all have our own beliefs. And same thing with spiritualism and mediumship, psychics. It's up to your belief. I never want to make anyone believe what I do. That's up to your disclosure. But I know what I do is what I do, and I know the lives that I affected out of the 20 years has changed lives. So I'm not here to prove anything to anyone. So when people come at me and say like, "What does this mean?" I'm giving you my personal opinion, my belief, and that's what I'm here for. Is just to kind of open up your eyes just a little bit.
Have you ever had people that don't maybe, like you said, you give your opinion, you give your message, but they refuse to either see the message or they don't like the message?
Both.
Okay,
Both.
how
Yeah,
do you deal
seriously.
with that? Like,
Yeah. How do I know it or what?
how do you deal with that? Like, as a knowing that, hey, it is what it is. Like, I can.
You know the saying, "Don't shoot the messenger." Truly, don't shoot the messenger. Yeah, there are times people are mad at me because they don't want to hear from their dad because there has been sexual abuse, or they don't want to hear from their mom because they were an alcoholic, or they're like, there's a lot of reasons why certain energies come through, and they come through because it's what the physical soul needs to hear to evolve and grow, the lessons, the healing, and so on and so forth. Regardless if we want to hear from them or not, if the information is factual and evidential, the person needs to take it for what it is because it's part of their healing process. But I don't control who or what comes through. I know every person that sits in front of me for a reading all has that, everyone has that, special person, that VIP person that they absolutely positively want to hear from. And when I do a reading for them or for anyone, any medium, they're like, oh God, I hope Aunt Tilly won't come through again today. I hope she doesn't hear. She's always hogging up the sessions and so on. And like for me, I'm like, I know for doing this work for again so many years, I would say 90% of the time, 90% of the time, the person that they want to hear from usually comes through, plus 10, 20 other different people, depending on who they want to link with. But you got to think of it as a private setting. Like when we think of something like when I do my live events, there's hundreds of people out there. There's multiple people that are out there, and I'm in control. But it's like whoever spirit is the loudest for me is gonna get my attention to get to you guys, and that's the same way it works. It's just like giving the right message to the right person at the right time.
How do you differentiate between like, let's say, an entity that comes to you, right? And the reason I asked is because, like I said, I saw The Exorcist last night, and obviously demons are very good at playing with you, right? Like they pretend to be somebody they're not.
So that was the secret, Mike. We're actually bringing out a demonic presence right now, and he's going.
Here it comes. What the? Door behind number one.
How do you know when a message is true, and how do you know like
that's a good
this
question.
shit? It's like nah.
Yeah. So all my messages that I work from comes from God, comes from good light. Is my intention. I don't work with negativity. I don't open myself to evil. And even people think that you go to like paranormal investigations or haunted homes or whatever you want to call it. They're not evil. They're entities, energies. When I say entities, I don't mean anything bad, just energies. Our loved ones are entities, they're energies. So we're communicating with them just in a different way. Same thing with certain devices. They may come through to let us know that they're around us through certain devices. Say, hey, can you light this device? Can you make it go red? Can you make it go green? And maybe perhaps these devices light up. It's the same way. But for me, I know the messages that do need to come through, regardless if the client wants to hear from that person, they need to hear from that person and they need to hear that message. So I always find that as more of a therapeutic thing because I always believe that when I do in my online events, a private reading, an in-person event, it's not about when I start the event, it's when I end the event because it's how you keep that connection alive after the fact, not about me. So I'm just the middleman.
Have you ever not wanted to give the message? I know you said that you're very blunt, but have you ever not like, shit, I don't want to give this message?
Dude, get me some cocktails in, I'll tell you everything.
Guys, the drinks are over there. If you guys want something.
Do we have any open drinks yet? No, I want to touch on something, AJ, and it's something we touched on briefly last time when we had you on, but you just talked about you get a message from God and you talk to God. So there's this misconception, and a lot of people think, like spiritual medium, talking to spirits, things like that you have to be more spiritual than religious. Right. Is that a thing? Because you have your own religion as well, right?
Yeah. I have my whole cult here, tonight, so which is amazing. No, I'm kidding. No, but in all honesty, I grew up Catholic. I still believe in God. I still, even like what I wear is actually all crosses. I always wear a cross on me or something. Always something religion that I wear either underneath, on me in some capacity, because I believe with the man upstairs is that I believe, again, it comes from source in a way of divine energy. It's good light, good intentions. So when I do work with clients in front of me, they always ask like, are we bugging them? Are we disturbing them? And so on and so forth. So I really believe like the messages and the energy that do need to come through comes part of my own upbringing. But as a Catholic, I was always taught to believe, and I don't know how many of you guys are Catholic or Christian or whatever, spiritualists, is that we're supposed to believe in one heaven, one hell. On that judgment day, we go to that place. But as a medium, I believe that we just coexist. We go to the afterlife. We meet with our dogs, our pets, our birds, our iguanas, like our fur babies, like our loved ones, our ancestors from 20 years ago, people that we have met or haven't met. Like, I'm sure some of you guys have had personal experiences with your own loved ones where you feel like that, oh my God, like, my dad or my mom was talking about like, this person that their own brother that passed away 20 years ago and they were at the bedside before they transitioned. Those are moments that they're actually experiencing. It's not the meds, it's not that. And I know a lot of nurses that tell me these experiences and they go like, we can tell you stories, and they tell me like all the stories that they experience. It's part of their soul leaving that physical body and kind of checking out. So for me, I think religion plays still a big role in my life today because I'm still a believer of God and I still thank God. I still do prayer. I still do meditation. Even before today, I meditated. I prayed to God, did the cross, did my rosary, not my rosary, but did the Our Father. And it's just setting that intention. So that will always be ingrained with me. Even when if I get 80 years old, that will still be part of me.
I think it's important what you just said right now. One of the things you taught us the first time when you were on, you talked about your prayer, your meditation could be whatever makes you happy or brings peace to you. You know,
Yeah,
it could be
100%.
taking photos. It could be doing a podcast. That could be a source of meditation.
Right.
You know, like what's the number one thing that people tell you that they use, or because you teach classes, what do they use to try to connect with people? Like sometimes I still find myself talking to my dad. There's certain situations where I feel like I haven't gone to visit him or I haven't talked to him, and I find myself just talking to him. You know, hey, how you been? Things like that. Does that resonate? Do they hear those messages? Do they feel that?
Yeah, I'm glad you asked that. I just, did a group session via Zoom a couple hours before coming here, and the daughter, she lost her mom, her dad, like a bunch of different people, unfortunately. And there were specific messages that were coming through that I was bringing through specifically, which I want to keep it private because it is confidential. But there were specific things like verbiage that I said that she goes, my dad would always specifically use this word and use this terminology. And by you saying that, I know that's my dad. And then later on during the reading, something else came through. So in those moments when we ask for that message and that validation, they are listening, they are aware of it. So in those moments that you're talking to your dad or you're talking to any of your loved ones, your guides, your pets, whatever that's like, they're very much aware of that. So I always tell people, please keep that door of communication open. Even if it's a thought, our thoughts are energies, our thoughts are words at the same time. So we send it out, it goes right back. We think about like The Secret. The Secret is such a big deal, but The Secret is all about just law of attraction. The Secret was so big, but law of attraction has been around for years. And I think what makes it mainstream is media, TVs, movies, and so on and so forth. So by you talking to your dad, he's listening. He's aware of it.
He's not watching the bad shit I'm doing, right?
Oh, 100%. Yeah, 100%. 100%. Oh, yeah. He's very much aware of that. Yeah.
Hey, no readings today, right?
No readings today.
Question. So it's cool. It's interesting that you say that because my mom was very close to her dad. My grandpa passed away, I think it was 2006. It was December 29th, 2006. And my mom, ever since, has had a hard time. She calls her daddy, her daddy, her daddy. She's always talking to him. Every time she feels she's in a bind, if my daddy was mi papá, si mi daddy estaba aquí, mi daddy me hiciera esto. Mi daddy. How about the people that, like, I know that you do a lot of readings and sometimes you don't connect. How about the people that really want to connect and they resort to like different, like maybe brujeria or the negative aspect of dealing with, reaching out to the dead? What would you say to people like that? Because again, I'm referring to The Exorcist because that little girl was trying to get her mom. And
He's not letting that go.
He's not letting this go. You're to see Linda Blair walk out to the doors right now. No,
bro, the freaking person who took me should have known better, and they didn't. So I was like, whatever,
I think with the when we think about like exorcism and all that stuff, like, or just in general, brujas, brujos, like all that stuff, like that's a belief. It's simply a belief. Just like voodoo, Catholicism, Christianity, Judaism, it's your belief. And if you believe in it, that's what you're going to walk away with. Same thing with what I do. If you believe it, you're going to walk away and understand the process of how it works. So I'm not going to shame anyone if they do bruja or this or that because that's part of their belief. Do I believe in it? And yeah, because if I do give it enough power, it's going to affect me. So what I do, I protect myself in white light with God, and that's my whole thing. I've always believed that, and I always keep something to ground me. If it's going to be a black shirt, black shoes, I always wear black. Most people don't know that, but black is actually a very grounding color.
That's why you told us wear black, guys.
Honestly, he didn't tell me.
Oh, he did not?
I just fucking wore black, but we didn't even know. So
we wanted the Ouija board to do the stuff around you, though.
I'm all black.
No, it was so funny. He was like, I don't know, wear my red shirt. I'm like, no, just wear a black shirt. Yeah, I go, you're good.
So AJ, so what you're saying is like pretty much you can bind your energy to things, right? To objects, to colors, to whatever it is. Is there such a thing, for example, like, we see things about possessions with dolls or haunted items. There's going to a point where I got a necklace from when I went to Mexico City. It was from like the Aztecs. I got it at the pyramids and things. And I don't have it today. And I felt weird. I felt like I was going to be embarrassed, scared. And I'm starting to rely on that a lot.
Right.
To hold and to kind of get me through things.
I thought that necklace was to see the sun, fool.
It is true. It is also that. It's obsidian.
You can see the sun with this shit, fool. Look.
See, if I would have had it on, it's to keep the haters away too. You wouldn't have been talking shit. But is there such a thing as binding yourself to objects? And is it a thing where people that passed on bind themselves to objects or to dolls?
Yeah, like amulets and, the crosses, the Star of David. all these different things.
Chucky.
Chucky. Yeah, seriously. No, seriously. Yeah, there are certain things. Like,
You did actually something on there, right?
yeah, I did it with ETV or E Entertainment, and I actually went to a store in a toy store in LA or Salt Lake. I don't even remember Salt Lake. I don't even know where it was. But they didn't give me information because I don't like to know anything when I go into any type of work because haunted locations. So every doll that they placed in front of me, I knew the history of it, which like one was abandoned, what was in a fire, and they were all freaking out like, how would you even know this? And people actually are doll collectors and they actually buy quote unquote possessed or haunted dolls. I think if you give it the energy of possession, haunted energy, yes, it will be there. But antiques are a whole different story because you got to think those are things that are passed down from generations and so on and so forth. So I don't like going antique shopping. I don't like going to antique stores because I feel like I walk away with like hitchhikers with me. And I'm like, there's a whole line behind me. I'm like, yeah.
That's interesting that you brought that up, but you want to ask probably the same question, right?
No, I mean,
He's like, no, I'm good, man.
I sell collectibles, so
Oh, shoot.
I like going and
then
buying
he's talking
shit, but
about
now
why
I'm
his
like,
house is
fuck
haunted and shit.
that.
Now you're
That's
talking
why
about
your house is haunted.
Yeah, for
Now
real.
you-
Get rid of all the antiques and shit.
No, I used to go yard selling and pick up like, oh shit, I'm not.
Oh, that's right. And you do estate sales too.
I do
huh?
estate sales.
I mean, so do I, but I don't touch anything.
The
because
DVD player was $10, bro. Shit, like, if I could pick it up. No, but you know what? You're right. Okay, so fuck. Maybe I gotta get rid of this. I was in the military, obviously, a long time ago, and I don't look it, but I was in the military, and there was I went to this estate sale, and I picked up this. It's a green locker that we used to have in boot camp, and I was like, fuck yeah, it was like $20. I have it in my house, but I don't know. It's I mean, I haven't felt nothing in my house. But maybe I
Don't
should
say
get rid of
that.
that shit.
Except you don't like looking at your Ring camera at all.
Yeah, so the Ring is the worst thing you could ever fucking buy.
All right.
Especially when it starts fucking going off at 3 in the morning, 4 in the
It's just
morning.
little bugs, but whatever.
I don't know, dog.
But I wanted to talk about something, AJ, but you brought it up. You say you're picking up hitchhikers. Has there been a situation where you actually like go into things and, you're not doing readings, but you go into a situation, you see a doll, you go into an antique store, you see something, and it's like, someone's giving you a message, but it's like, who am I relaying that message to? And it's just a general message? Or is it something that you've been scared? Like, have you ever been like, oh, shit, like, I don't want to touch that?
When I was younger, yes. But now that I'm like 40 years old, I've learned ethics and so on and so forth. And I can tell you stories like I've gone to, like, say, in my mid-20s where, say, even just at a restaurant or a fast food joint, the person in front of me, and I can sense an energy of, like, someone standing in front of them. And I'll tell you a specific story. I've told it many times. There was a lady that was standing in front of me, and I was 19 and a half, maybe 20. I think it was at McDonald's or Burger King or whatever. And I kept on hearing this lady's, I felt this presence of a man, and I kept on hearing dad, 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 over and over and over again. And I'm like, excuse me. Ignored it. And afterwards, I remember tapping on her. And I remember after she placed her order, I said, hey, I go, kid at 19 years old. Back then, almost 20 years ago? Kind of like, hey, I got your dad here. He's telling me blah, blah. Half of her wanted to stay there. The other half left her order and walked away. And she came back and she cried and she goes, I needed to hear from my dad. He passed away a month ago and I've been missing him for so long. So sometimes there's some urgency messages that come through in that form. But when I go to like an antique shop or something like that, I set the intention. Even when I go out in public, I ground myself, I protect myself, with the white light and all that stuff. So I'm not always turned on. Like, I'm just like any one of you guys. I clock in and clock out. Like, I'm not always turned on and reading for people. Like, it's not possible.
What age did you start noticing that you had this gift?
Yeah, and that's a good question because even as kids, like even now he's 30-something and he's scared of the Exorcist movie.
Stop saying my age. God damn.
30-something, I said.
It's
But
like Bloody Mary.
At that age when you first encountered that, did you, just to follow up on it, how did you take it? Was it
did you say like, oh, what the fuck? And like, stop. Like, did you want to stop? Or what made you say, oh, shit, like, I'm going to, because the reason I ask is I have a friend, and I'm not going to say her name, but she tells me that everybody's sensitive. Yeah. It's up to you to allow yourself to be sensitive enough to continue it or not. It's like they say, you only use a little bit of your mind or your brain, right? 10% of your brain. We could literally levitate or whatever. I don't know if I believe that shit,
right?
Unless you're possessed. But she told me.
Maybe when we were in high school, not no more.
So she told me though, like it's like, oh yeah, like I had to learn to like sometimes, like you said, shut it down. Like I'll listen to whatever the messages, or not even sometimes not even messages. It's like she says it's like noise. So what made you decide to like say fuck it? Like I want to continue doing this. Like I'm not scared.
Yeah. So this is so bizarre because I was on my treadmill, I think yesterday or the day before, and I had like all these overwhelming feelings of death, of dying. Was my biggest fear was dying. At a young kid, I'd never lost anyone close to me. I lost all majority of my loved ones, family, friends, grandparents, when honestly probably all in the last 5 years, 5, 6 years. And so I lost a lot of people, and it wasn't that I had a near death experience that triggered me to have this ability, or it wasn't anything that made me go into it. It was more so curiosity than anything else, because religion, a lot of people don't know, I was involved with my church. I was like everything from youth retreats and this and that and the whole 9 yards. And so when I went into more the spiritual side of things, it made me have a better understanding that there's much more out there than our physical realm. So for me, it was really discovering myself over and over and over again in that process. So I believe there's a purpose for all of us to somehow discover something, if that makes sense. And I wanted to piggyback on you asked the tail end of that question real quick. What was the tail end of that?
If you were scared of it, like
being afraid of it was not something that came into mind. That because I believe that if we have that fear, that we set that intention of allowing that fear to affect us. So when I go into any paranormal investigation, haunted location, I don't fear it. But if I'm provoking, I'm causing that energy. I'm asking that energy to come in and attack me or whatever that looks like. And when I say attack, I mean provoking when I want some things to happen. But the fear is something that I think we create. But I think if you go in there with good intentions and ground yourself and protect yourself, you'll be good and content in that process. Though, but fear is not a thing for me. Fear is what got me into this work, because I feared of dying. And that's funny that you asked that question, because that thought came up yesterday or the day before. I'm like, and I started going down that tunnel, and I started getting anxiety. Like, what is the world going to be like when I die? Like, I was really like looking at what's going to happen to my nieces, my mom, like my dad. And even though they may be gone, am I going to truly meet with them? So even though I do this work, I know what's going to happen, but I'm just like everyone else. I question what I do. And I think the best thing for me is I'm still skeptical, even though I do this work, which is why I try so hard to provide much evidence in my readings, because if I was on the opposite side, I would want to know. And I just don't want to hear like, oh, I got someone here. You know what I mean? That could be anyone in your family, but giving details and so on and so forth help me understand and help me have a bigger belief, is believing in something bigger. If it's a God, the universe, or source, that fear comes and goes, but not anymore. I think I'm more afraid, even to this day, no matter how many times I get in front of a TV camera or in front of my events, the nerves are there. But once I walk on stage, it's like everything goes away. So it's kind of like, oh, this is normal. You know,
so just a random question. Do you now, doing what you do and just saying what you said, what your fear when you were young, is that still a fear of dying? Because to be honest with you, for a lot of my life, I was like, that's not my biggest fear. I had other fears, losing my parents, losing loved ones. I felt like that would hurt more. But after watching my dad pass away, and it was like, made me appreciate life a lot. Like, I was like, damn, like, we have to appreciate the little moments, the things, things like this.
Yeah.
And just people you meet along the way, just taking advantage of that. And now it's like trickling in where like, man, there's so much to do. There's so much to experience and so much to live. And now I'm scared of dying. Do you feel the same way? Do you feel like?
No, I mean, I joke around, and I have a friend of mine. I think I've told him, James here. He's been to many of my events here, and I just call him a friend, not even just like a groupie, but truly a friend. No, seriously, no, truly. He's
cult
like
leader.
I've known James for years, but we reconnected, I think, just recently through my events and my work. I don't even know how that happened, but we've known each other over the years and reconnected. So it's kind of like, and he's pretty intuitive. He's a psychic. He's a medium. So I always pay respect to those people, because I'm just one person. If there's other people that are sensitive intuitives that can do the work, I'm all for it. I'm not like one of these like hogs, like, oh, come to me for reading. Like, there's so many people out there. I'm just one person. So I think when we keep that connection alive, it's about how you do it and how you make those connections possible. So for me, I don't know if there's really a boundary of that stuff, to be quite frank.
Hold on, I have a quick question, and just came to my mind. Do you guys sometimes battle each other?
Actually, you know what? This is quite funny. We talked about this after I was
You're like, oh shit, no.
No, I mean it's funny because we did talk about like our abilities and so on and so forth. But I don't think we battle each other. But I think like we learn from each other from our abilities. But that's
I'm a Marvel fan. I was thinking Professor X.
They're not gonna move things.
Scarlet Witch and shit. Like Jedi power and shit. Sorry, my bad. You got you? Okay.
Yeah. No, I'm so good with people. I mean, like I love teaching people. I love educating people about the work. And you know, if I can be like that grain of salt in their life, that little bit of that seed to help them, I'm happy with that. I'm not here to be like, oh, this person. Like I'm just one individual. And there's so many light workers out there. And I always refer people like, I can't do it because I'm booked out this far. I can't do it because of blah. Like if I can't do it, I'm gonna give you a referral or two. I post them up on my social media. Go check out this person. Go do that because, as I mentioned, I'm just one person.
Okay. What do you tell people about the phonies?
I want to say something real quick before.
Go. Don't scare me, bro.
No.
First of all, sir, I'm sorry.
Can I
I'm sorry,
he's gonna
AJ.
read you and I'll tell
I
you
was
all kinds
just
of
fucking
shit.
around. No.
He'll tell you, not me. Yeah, he'll tell you.
There's a message for me?
He's there's a message?
That's him. That's him at night after watching the movie. But you know,
I'm sleeping in your house tonight.
He's all good night.
One of the reasons I love podcasting and it's changed my life a lot is because I get to listen to people talk, and the art of conversation is slowly dying. So we got to start talking to people. You know, we got to start talking individually.
You got to get rid of your
people.
phones.
Yeah.
Get rid of the phones.
What I took away from what you just said is that instead of trying to constantly connect with people that have passed on, connect with people that are alive. Just like you said right now, you've connected with your friend here, you know, and you're making connections, and that's important. We got to make sure we continue making those connections.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's the most important part with this work is, you know, gonna get emotional, but not related to me, but to anyone else. Like the moment that person passes away, and you didn't have that opportunity to say goodbye, or you didn't have the opportunity to go see them, or you didn't have the opportunity to fix that fight or what that looks like, and you look back like, excuse my language, but it's like, fuck, I hope they forgive me, or hope, like, I wish I would have done more. All these things come to mind, and when I sit back on the back seat of it, like being the medium, I'm able to provide those messages of healing and hope. So for me, anytime I get to connect with anyone's loved one, whatever way, telephone, however that works, TikTok, Instagram Live, whatever that looks like, I feel like I'm connecting with my own loved ones, even though I'm not necessarily connecting with them. So by keeping your loved ones alive, stay off the cell phone. You know, like there's a whole new world out of this thing.
You know, one thing I've said now is that we live forever through memories and stories that people tell about us. You know what I mean? So your family members speaking about you or remembering your kids, they're gonna tell their kids.
Right.
You know, they're going to tell their grandkids, and one time my dad did this. My dad was scared of the Exorcist movie. But anyways, go on with your question. I know you had a question.
No, I have a question.
You're going to say something about phonies.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Okay, so in the Hispanic community, there's obviously
carne asada, beer.
Yeah.
Tequila.
No,
margaritas.
but we are susceptible to like a lot of phony shit.
Right.
Like a lot of infomercial shit.
Right.
Like Concha Nacar or fucking
Cleo?
Cleo, yeah.
Miss Cleo?
That's what I was gonna
Cleo,
say.
yeah.
Like El Indio Amazónico. Like how the fuck
Walter Mercado?
Right, yeah. But
was
he was a
Walter
big
phony?
Was he funny?
Hey, you're about to upset a lot of people here. Walter Mercado is like a fucking.
He's an astrologer. I think I did not follow his work, but I did watch the documentary of what he did. So I don't know the whole realm of astrology, but I believe that if you give that power, the astrology, it's again that belief. It's part of that. So I would say, yeah.
So it is kind of true what they say about like astrological signs. And
yeah, but I don't think we should live our life by astrology.
Okay, so what do you tell those people that are like, fuck, this says that today I'm gonna fucking whatever, right?
Dude, I can tell you something right now, and you'll be like, "Oh shit, really?"
Tell me something right now. Tell me something right now.
I already did. It's
I know. That's just scary. Tell me something else.
Tell me something else. Don't bring that up in front.
Fucking free right now. No, okay. Let me ask you
Give him a
question.
drink. Give him a drink.
Give him a drink. Fuck no.
No, but I want to ask something, and forgive me if I'm going to sidetrack, but I don't know. Is there anyone behind that wall? Like anyone standing behind that wall?
Standing behind that wall?
Yeah.
Yes.
Is there? Did she lose her dad or dad figure behind her? I don't know who's back there. It's
I
been
think
I
it's
don't know.
Melvin's girlfriend, I think.
Who is it? Can you have her step out?
Not there?
It's been bugging me since I sat down.
Holy shit, we're about to
Eric,
experience
can you
something.
move the camera?
Is she wearing a red or a light colored dress or color shirt?
Yeah, can you step out really quick? We're getting something over here. Where's Melvin? Melvin wants to be part of this.
Her? Is that her?
Yes.
Is dear dad still here?
Yeah.
There's a father figure with you that I need to bring up here. I don't know if it's like dad's dad, but there is a father figure that we do need to bring up here. Do you not know your dad's side of the family pretty well?
A little bit.
Okay. What I want to bring, do you mind if I do this? I know I kind of have you on the spot, but there is a gentleman that comes through that when he steps forward here, I just feel like he was like very persistent, like insistent at the same time, saying, I need to show up here. What's interesting here is that he's showing me a sense with you, is talking about more so, not like I miss you and I love you, so it's more so your spiritual path. What he is showing me is a sense of you kind of having a lot of this kind of like cloudiness. And anytime I see that like around a person, even though I can't see them, it represents your journey. So I don't know respectfully if you're kind of at this fork in the road, either with your work, your career, your relationship, I don't know. But it makes you feel like as if there's a sense of seeing light at the end of the tunnel. What I do need to bring up here, dad's, I don't know if is it dad's brother or dad's dad that we need to bring up here? It's much older than you. Which would be then grandfather to you.
Yeah, my dad's dad has been gone.
Yeah. So I feel like it's dad's side for sure. So here's the thing. Is there also like a Walter or William or something on that side of the family too, on your dad's side? Still living, not passed?
No, I don't think that. Not that I know.
Yeah, there is. And October's significant to you too as well, right?
It's my boyfriend's birthday.
Yeah, I'm with you. Yeah, I'm with you. Yeah, so unless
the
Walter or
fuck?
William is connected to your boyfriend, I don't know him personally, but it might be associated with him. But I just like there was a man presence like saying like, I need to get her attention. I need to get her attention. So even though you did not know your grandfather very well in life, I feel like he's kind of like orchestrating things, putting things back in life or putting things back together for you in a very straightforward way. So kind of just see this as his way, kind of making a little cameo appearance here, but also including your boyfriend, you're the fiance, like that energy into this reading. But more importantly, you need to focus on your life purpose. And are you getting married?
No, not that I know of.
What?
I'm seeing a ring.
Okay.
Where's Melvin? Melvin.
Can we get Melvin out here?
He's taking a shit right now. You know what I'm saying?
But if it's that, I don't know if there's meaning like just the unity in general. He dropped dead back there. I think I just heard something shut down. But here's the thing. I don't know if it just means the unity, but I just want to bring up here. There's something very significant that he's bringing up as a projection. So I don't think there's going to be like, I hope it's not next month or the next 2 months, but it might be something obviously coming up here, but it feels like in a short period of time.
Hey,
So,
Jay. I hope she doesn't go like, you owe me a ring, fucker. They tell me.
But I feel like there's a sense that he wants to come through to recognize this as a projection, but kind of see this as his way of expressing his love and gratitude towards you.
There's the boyfriend right there.
But just see it as what it is, basically. Okay, I'll leave it with that there. Yeah. Thank you for just being open and receptive.
Thank you for that, AJ. Yeah. Yay, congratulations, Melvin. Congratulations. Yeah. Woo.
No. It's all good. It's all good. No, seriously. It's interesting because sometimes when they give me a projection, I don't ever want to like take away from what it is. So if it's something that's coming up, like I feel like it's not now, like the next month, the next 2 months. It's going to be like in a short period of time, which I would say like 6 to 9 months. So I'm not putting a stamp of approval on it, but there might be something that we need to bring up here as.
Oh, so you don't approve of it?
No, meaning like no.
It's not.
It's not ingrained in stone. I think it's more engraved in stone. I think it's more so kind of like just make note to it as if it happens organically, or if he just gives you this ring as like commitment in a different way. It could be marriage, could be in a different way, but I'm seeing the ring as the significance of that unity.
Have you ever had anybody just come up and be like, AJ, you told me I was going to get married?
I would say yes and no, because I think we have control of our path. So I think a lot of people think like when I say something as a projection, they want it to happen. But I would say about accuracy with time frame, I would say maybe 80% accuracy with time frame, because I'm not in control of that, because we have the choice of free will. But I do believe that we can change the outcome of our life. So depending on what we change. So if I told you by this time frame this is supposed to happen or that's supposed to happen, and all of a sudden, like you change direction, it's going to change everything else afterwards that was given as a projection. If that makes sense.
So what does that mean with destiny? You know how some people believe, oh, it's destiny.
Yeah.
Does that mean destiny is not true?
Yeah, it's like we have a life review, a life plan. We have all that stuff that we do when we transition into the afterlife. But as destiny, it's kind of like destiny, fate, all that stuff. It's such a rabbit hole that we go down. But I do believe there is a plan or a blueprint, if you will, that we do have. But I believe that we can change it just like our DNA. We can change our RNA and all that stuff to what we want it to be. And it's how we change that energy.
What about cheating death?
Ooh.
Oh, yeah. I mean, cheating death, I don't know if we would call it cheating death, but I would call those exit points. So if any of you guys had near-death experiences where you got in a car accident or got into a drive-by or got into choking on something or whatever that looks like as a near-death experience, that is an exit point that Spirit's saying, okay, you still have like more time here. Like you're supposed to get out of this. I can tell you I've had a couple exit points. All of them were all vehicle accidents, close to being vehicle accidents. And every time it scared the crap out of me. And it's kind of like, I thank God afterwards, I'm like, I'm still here. And I always believe because there's a higher power, like, okay, there's a bigger purpose. I'm supposed to be here for a different reason. And I realized over the years, like, even to this day, I think like when I die, it's going to be like, pick a cloud, any cloud. But I know I'm still going to be helping people, evolving, doing what I have to do. So same thing here. It's just like what you put out is what you get back. And I don't think like all the good deeds are recognized. I don't believe that because it's kind of like they say some certain deeds go unnoticed and so on and so forth. But if you're just doing it out of like the kindness of your heart, it is what it is. If you're not looking for applause or this and that, like, yes, we see social media with all these random act of kindness or social experiences and so on and so forth. And yes, they're getting likes and they're raising money and all that stuff. But I think some people get mad like, oh, you're taking abuse of this person, of their being homeless or this and that. But they're raising money for these people with their followers. And I think that's kind of like the back end of it. You know what I mean? So it depends of how you use your ability, your recognition, your platform to bring that awareness. And same thing with you guys. Like for you having me on your, podcast the first time and having me on now, you guys are spreading awareness just in a different way, with your podcast. So it just kind of see yourself as being a light worker just by doing your podcast. Not just by doing your podcast, but sharing it with people here, but sharing it with people who download it and watch it or listen and so on and so forth. So again, there's so much more to this. Yeah.
I want to take it back to Halloween really quick. So, you talk about entities and energies, and we're talking about, cheating death and things like that. Has there ever been a message where you have to tell someone like, hey, your time's running out? Or do you see how we have in our culture, in the Mexican culture, la muerte that's around you or something, que se te arrima, you know what I'm saying? Is there things like that? Like
No.
Okay.
I don't predict death. I don't see death. They may give me a projection of what someone's time, I guess, line is like, but they don't ever predict like, oh, someone's going to die in a month or 2 months. I don't play God. I don't do that. It's just whatever they're going to give me is to assist that person. So if it's medical situations or so on and so forth, that's going to come through to assist the person or help them in some capacity.
I got a question. And this is for the audience, okay? How many of you guys are superstitious? Raise your hand if you're superstitious. Like you believe in...
Nobody believes in it. Oh, one.
Over here.
Yeah, we got a couple.
And what I mean by that is like, we grew up, at least in my family, my mom would say like, oh, los perros ven a la muerte,
Oh, yeah.
Los perros. My mom used to say this shit like,
Las lagañas?
Las lagañas, yeah.
Las lagañas
Había una vez un muchacho que quería ver la muerte, que no lo creía, y le quitó las lagañas a un perro y se las puso, yeah, it's no bullshit. This is the type of stories This is the type of stories I used to hear as a 3, 4, or 5-year-old, you know what I'm saying? So that's why that's why I'm so scared of shit. But there's other superstitions like no pases abajo de las escaleras or the umbrella. That's not even a Hispanic thing. It's just what do you think? What do you say about that?
Again, that's part of your belief or superstition. I think, and that's what it's all about. I think so many people believe in it because of how much power you give it to that energy. It's just like cracks on the floor, you break your like all that stuff. Is just like
I throw salt and shit every time I drop salt. I'm like, fuck.
Yeah.
Is it right though? The right one? Yeah, I think it's the right one. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people do it. I mean, like I always joke around. Like I love watching cooking shows, and one of my favorite shows. And you guys are probably get mad at me, but I love watching Rachel Ray. I just love her energy. I love what
the
she does.
pozole is not real,
Right?
guys.
Yeah,
that
shit
is not real.
You're not better than mom's pozole.
But I just love her personality. I love her work, and I always tell my wife, God, I oh, if I ever meet her, like I would just love to talk with her, meet with her, even be on our show, something like that, because she just has amazing energy. But she always does the salt over the shoulders and kind of like something like that. So that's part of her belief. So it's just again what became normal to you, and depends on if you came from an Italian family, a Hispanic, or so on and so forth. That's part of your belief that you go through. Someone I asked someone about like superstitions on one of my social media, and it was something so never leave a hat on the table, which I never heard of that, which you would think you would have, but I think her Italian family said like we would never place a hat on the table because it represents bad luck or something like that. So it's interesting. So it depends on how that was passed down or how that was given to you and how you believe in that stuff.
So speaking of superstitions, there's a lot of people that are probably gonna get mad at me, and AJ as well.
Don't bring that shit.
My mom's gonna kill me because she's gonna say that this is the devil's work, and Mike's gonna cry. But Eric, can you bring that out?
If you
please?
know, ni madre.
Can you bring that out? Can you bring it over here, please? Can you bring it to the stage? And can you take that mic off and put it on the stool? We're gonna put it right here, actually, right in the middle.
We're not playing that shit. I'm telling you right now. We're not fucking playing that shit. No.
Can you get the stool too?
We're not playing that shit,
right
fool. I'm not playing that shit.
Let me see. Can we get that stool up here?
I'm not playing that shit.
We're not gonna play it.
No, don't even ask it, fool. You're not allowed to come through. I'm not fucking looking for you. I'm being serious.
So there's a lot of
put this shit away from me. What the fuck? Put this shit over there. I'm not using this.
So there's a lot of superstitions and misconceptions about the Ouija board.
Yes,
I grew up not until the last time we had John when you explained this to me that I realized, okay, but we always had this terrifying like feeling that you couldn't burn it, that it wouldn't burn, that you would have to like bury it to get rid of it and things like that.
Right.
So can you tell us a little bit about this thing right here?
Yeah.
Why are you touching it, fool? Don't touch me. Fuck. I'm being serious.
This is actually one of my personal tools. I still use it to this day when I work with any type of physical mediumship rather than mental mediumship or trance mediumship, which is different. So you're working with the brain. So when you're using physical mediumship, you're using an object or you're allowing experience to work through this. And what happens is with the Ouija board, it's a tool, just like tarot cards, just like a pendulum, just like anything. I can all hear them like they're all doing the prayers.
Doña Chuy. Mira lo que está haciendo Kiko. Yo no lo quiero tocar. Ella la tocó. Yo no la toqué.
So here's the thing. There has to be like with anything else, like with myself, I open and close myself. I protect myself with white light and good intention. Same with the board. It's just a tool. I think, Hollywood gave it such a bad reputation. There's a bad stigma associated with it because of movies and all the horror stories, and especially social media and so on and so forth. And plus, there's a lot of false information on social media, especially TikTok, that's out there that's giving the wrong information about Ouija boards. But the board is just a way to communicate with your own deceased loved ones. It's not contacting demons. You're not going to contact quote unquote a demon. You're going to contact an entity. And when we talk about entities, it's your loved one. It could be your spiritual guide. So when you get with the board and it starts moving around with the planchette, which I have it somewhere over there, which we don't need, but it's just more so a display of how the Ouija board works. So when we use it, it may spell out things through those letters, or it may spell out things phonetically or through numbers. When phonetically, it may sound like John, it might be JHN rather than JHON. So it just depends on how spirit wants to work. But with the board, it works from good light and good intention. So I don't want anyone to think like, oh my God, it's associated with evil and so on and so forth. It just depends on how you open and close it. And you always want to tell the board, goodbye, hello, pay it with respect. Same thing with your own loved ones. You're going to pay your loved ones who are living and passed on with respect. You're not going to kind of do them wrong. You're not going to work with them in the wrong light and wrong intention. You want to work with this board to get some messages, some validation, some guidance, and so on and so forth. So for me, again, it's just a tool, but it's a great tool, especially with physical mediumship. And physical mediumship is something completely different that's not really exposed on television and so on and so forth. And when we talk about that, there's like a mediumship, there's like a cabinet that we talk about that mediums get in, and the lights are all blocked out, and there's a trumpet, and that trumpet is basically not a music trumpet. It's something made through aluminum, and ectoplasm is produced through that medium's mouth, and that trumpet can levitate in the air, and that's the voice box for spirit, and spirit will speak through that ectoplasm. So when we think of Ghostbusters, Slimer is ectoplasm. So in reality, all this stuff that has been presented to us for years, it's been in front of our eyes for years, which has been considered spooky and real and so on and so forth. Not spooky, it's reality.
Now you talked about this as a tool. Do you recommend like just anybody just go ahead and play it?
put it in your car, drive with it. Yeah. No, I'm kidding. No, I'm kidding. Yeah. No, I mean, let's put it in Mike's car right now.
Nah, fuck that.
No, I mean, in all reality, like honestly, you want to treat it with best intention. And I always bless this. Even walking in, I just thank God for allowing me to just use this board and present this board to people, because this is a personal item that I don't put out in public. And I think I just did it recently on one of my videos on Instagram or TikTok, where I showed the Ouija board and talked about it briefly, because I'm allowing people to see my life, part of what I worked with over the years of 20 something years working with this board. So for me, it's my time and energy, and I don't want that to be influenced. So when I bring it into you guys and here, I bless it with good intention, good light, and knowing that I'm doing it out of the right light, not to spook everyone out, even though you might be spooked by it.
Yeah,
I'm not gonna lie.
That's a good
I really
question.
don't like it right here in front of me.
But why? Like, what's the misconception? Why do you feel this fear?
Yeah. Why?
I don't want to talk about her.
Like,
wanna
did you
talk
play
about
it before? Or?
No, I don't want to talk about her. She knows who she is.
No, well, now you gotta tell the audience. You guys want to hear. You guys want to hear the story, right?
She's hearing, by the way. I'm very superstitious, like I said. There's somebody
so
that
Stevie Wonder, but
no, she knows who she is, and she's done a lot of harm to my family. So, I just associate it with negative stuff, and it's like I don't. I for a long time I said I was gonna. One day I was gonna confront her, and now I just don't care about her. So it's like, whatever.
and like I mentioned, it's like how much energy you give to that
Exactly.
person, that thing.
Exactly. I think that's what it came down to, and it's like, you know what? I don't care about her like that anymore. So, and I don't want to say her name. I don't want to say who she is.
Which is good. You don't have to.
She knows who she is, though.
Yeah, set it out there, and that's what it
that's
is.
very vague. Yeah, kind of creeping us out over here in the audience and everybody else.
Anyways,
But yeah, there is a huge misconception, and like I said, I've been scared of this thing forever. And like just when we talked about it, and I was
it's
like,
fucking made my eye twitch, man.
but
Fucking, I want her twitching and shit. Like, fuck.
like, have any of you guys ever played the Ouija board, or have you guys ever had any misconceptions? You've played it before.
Oh,
Did you ever have any experiences or anything that you want to say?
I mean, I used to play with my best friend like after school a lot, and then one time like we were upstairs and we were playing, and it said something about a knife in a drawer. And we're like, okay, that's kind of weird.
Why did I just get some like major chills right now? Really, really bad.
What, a knife in a drawer? We're like, whatever. We said goodbye, and then we kept reconnecting with other spirits back and forth. And then as I was leaving, her brother and his best friend were downstairs, and I don't know, he was not right, but he tried coming at me with a knife.
Oh wow.
So I was just like, what the heck? And I just left.
Why would you want to do it? Why would you want to do this? I mean, what got you into like?
And I want to ask AJ, because that's one of the things true that's very true that I've noticed, that things are so vague, like knife in a drawer, but it could mean so much. And obviously in her situation,
Nah,
it
fool,
meant
she got
something
chased
else.
with a knife. And
I know,
fucking,
but-
that's pretty. Not big.
But knife in a drawer can mean like there's a lot of things, like like when
That's
AJ
the board, fool.
when AJ talked when AJ talked about the picture where my dad would always make fun of me for looking like him, right? When he talked about, like, my dad was saying that we're like his twin, and that's something that he was saying in real life. This is what you're gonna look like when you grow up. Why are messages so vague and they can be like left for interpretation?
Yeah, I think and I think there's two things. One based on the medium's interpretation, because we only have a vocabulary that makes sense to us. So say, for instance, if I ask you, I think I mentioned this maybe on your podcast, like symbolism. What does an apple mean to you? For me, it means like teacher, religion, someone that works with computers. That's my symbolism. To you, it could be the person loved baking apple pie. It means the person loved planting apple trees. It could be the person's name's, what's that name? Johnny Apple. There could be a Johnny. So there could be many references. So I think it's really based upon the interpretation. But some things can be very specific, very literal for the client to take away. But I always give what I get, even if things don't make sense. But if there are things that are relevant to you and it's evidential or makes sense to you, in that sense, like say, this is what you're gonna look like, or this is what it is. Like there might be that symbolism of your dad just saying, hey, this is what you're gonna look like, literally, and what's gonna happen here. But more important, it could be his way just guiding you. And 3, to take care of yourself. So there may be different reasons why messages are clearer than others, or more specific than others. Again, it just really depends, because a medium has no control who or what comes through. They just pass down those messages. Yeah.
That's interesting. Anybody else had any stories or anything like that with the Ouija board or just in general? Yeah, you have?
My mom played it when she was a teenager, and she had a really bad experience with it. I think she ended up rehoming it, but she said she could hear it dragging itself at night when she was sleeping.
Okay.
Also another thing, she knows when she's near one because she hears the Ouija board knock for her, and I actually heard someone else mention that, and so that's how I knew that she wasn't lying because they also said they know when a Ouija board is around because they hear it knocking.
That's poltergeist activity. That's not Ouija board. That's poltergeist. So there might be. I'm gonna say it very lightly. Don't want you to be freaked out. Some people they call them attachments. Not saying your mom has, but you said your mom, though, right? So she might have some sort of attachment, some energy associated with her. Not bad, but some energy with her, and that energy could be her. I don't even want to project anyone that's passed on in your family, but could be a loved one that's passed on that's trying to give her a message to get her attention. You know? Yeah. 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 And that's not a bad thing. It's just something that she needs to go through, which I think it's a great thing. What I would love for you to do is take this home and video record yourself and go to your mom.
And have Mike there too.
Fuck no. Hey, you know what's crazy? You know what the key word I took from her? What the key word I took from when she said right now? Rehoming.
Yeah.
Why do you have to rehome something?
You're passing it on to someone else.
No.
That's all innocent.
But thing that came to mind, you can't destroy it. It's indestructible. Fuck. Like,
That if you don't rehome it and you throw it to the trash or something like that.
it comes back to
It
you,
comes
right?
back to you. Yeah.
I'm not sure about that, but she said it gets mad and I think it can crack in half, something like that.
Yeah. So again, it's an attachment, it's an energy associated to that thing or to the person. But again, if you give it that energy and you allow that to happen, and if your mom is like really devolve into the limpias and so on and so forth, and the cleansings and this and that, yeah, she's gonna take that on.
AJ, what do you say about the tias that do the huevo shit?
I'm all for it.
Do you believe in that? Like,
Yeah, I mean,
does that shit work for us?
I mean,
Fucking
again,
kids are hanging upside down, bro.
yeah, I
They're
mean,
hitting them and fucking.
and
I've
that's
never
part,
seen
again,
that.
that's child
I just see
abuse,
that
dog.
they pray that
that's
with
part of
their
their
age.
belief. You know, there was a funny video that I was a post up. I don't know if it was Instagram or TikTok, but it was a little boy like over his sister with an egg, and the boy was like 3 years old and over an egg with his little sister. But again, it's part of what we're taught to believe.
AJ,
or so on.
Cisco still gets it done.
Yeah.
He's in his 30s.
Yeah, I mean, again, that's part of the belief of what you take on. So if you give it that much power, it's going to protect you. It's going to keep you clean from any negativity and energy. So for me, the way my power is crosses, wearing it in some capacity on a ring or whatever that looks like, I always have a cross on me in some capacity. And that's my religious belief. But as a spiritualist, I protect myself with white light and good energy and ground myself in divine and all that stuff, you know. But, you know, I don't give any of that negativity, any of that power, because if I do, then I make myself vulnerable to that energy. Is there sun energy passed over here? Or to you? Is there a sun energy, young male passed on? You? How is he associated to you? But what about you behind you, the one in the black? Sons? Okay. There's a male figure that's like, I just get standing behind you, like energy-wise, that I do need to bring up here. So if he passed on recently or many years ago, I just want to let you know that he's stepping in here and he wants to like spiritually embrace you, this big hug. He wants to say, Mom, I'm home. Mom, I'm home with you. Not home in the afterlife, but home with you. So I need to bring something up here, which I might get to like, I don't want to go down a rabbit hole, but I feel like there's a sense with him that he wants to make sure that you know that he's doing okay, like not psychologically, but I feel like there might have been some issues with him that he's bringing up here as if things are clear here. Does that make sense?
I think it might be her fiance
Okay, so
recently.
so for you, I'm going to say there's then two energies that are coming through for both of you guys then. So that would be then fiance to me, that's going to be then a brother figure to your son in my perspective. So however you guys are connected, if you guys are friends or aunts or what, you're okay. So I don't ever want to assume, but I want to recognize that there is a younger male to you, a sun energy, and I feel like there is going to be a contemporary to you that's passed on. I feel like
Which one? I had two.
I'm going to go with my impression. One that gives me, for me, is there's something that he's identifying. It's non-medical. So I feel like one of them we do need to bring up here as their owning accountability responsibility. So I don't know if that's more so with you rather than here. The other medical one that I'm getting as one son, I'm not getting two sons, just to be very clear. one of them's giving me the impression as if when he talks about himself, he's bringing up more so the sense of like going like as a rupture. So I don't know if there was a blockage that we need to bring up here that we need to identify here, but what's the reference?
Uh, yeah, he had a rupture.
Okay. What I do need to bring up here, I feel like that if this was some sort of clot, some sort of like, there's something about that's like expanding in the body that he's bringing to me that we need to identify. But what's interesting about it when he shows it to me, it seems like it's very rapid, like very quick the way it happened here. It doesn't feel like it's a lengthy process, like say cancer for several months. You know what I mean? So I know there's a way with him that he wants to identify like I'm here and I'm gone. He's also bringing up for me to talk about the month of February being significant, or where's February significant for you? Why is it significant?
That was his birthday.
Okay, just know then this is their way coming through together. So mom and daughter? Yeah, it's interesting because I don't get you guys as mom and daughter. I get you guys as separate. Nothing bad here, but I just feel like that the energies separate themselves, which is a good thing, but I just feel like it's a way coming through for you guys. What I do need to bring up here, so this is going to be then your brother figure or your son?
My son.
Yeah, so I need to bring up here for your reference here. Can I bring something up here? And I want to bring something up here. That younger male figure, did he not have a lot of life expectancy?
No.
Right? Because I don't feel like he lived here for a long time. I feel like that he was here and then gone. So there's something he's bringing up here that may have been something like, I don't want to say SIDS, but there's something like this that he's bringing up here as if I need to emphasize like, I'm here and then I'm gone. What he's telling me though is that I'm going to say something here, and forgive me if I'm wrong, and I don't care if I'm ever wrong, but I always give what I get. But he's showing me something that seems very, I don't want to sound cliche about it, but I know we don't have them anymore. We still have them, but the old, like the cameras where you get them developed and so on and so forth. Is there some old negatives that you were just going through, or is there something about why is he bringing up? Why do I have to bring up negatives?
I don't know.
We were just looking at pictures. We were just looking through pictures recently.
Okay, is there? She's a weird. So just make note to it. I don't ever want to force anything, but there's something about like the older photos rather than newer photos. So there's something that we're like redoing or kind of like bringing back. I feel like that your son wants to recognize as if he's still with you, even though there has been time and space, time and energy that has passed. So if it happened many years ago or recently, I just feel like it's their way of making a little cameo appearance and saying I'm here as well, just to say I'm here with both of you guys. As for your fiance or husband, I feel like it's important for you to understand when he comes through that he's absolutely fine neurologically. So whatever happened here physically, I just feel like he has so much clarity when he presents himself to me. And I just feel like that I keep on hearing, oh my God, I can't think of the song, but I think it's a song or commercial. You're still the one, da-da-da. Like I'm hearing that. So I feel like there's a sense with him that he wants to say that you're still the one. So just know that his soul and spirit is still very much with you, but see this as his way and your son's way, expressing some love and gratitude to both of you guys. All right? Yeah, thank you, guys.
We're gonna bill you guys later, okay? We gotta make the money, you know what I'm saying?
You're so raw.
I'm kidding. That's the great thing that we brought AJ out here, and we knew that somehow he was gonna start getting all these messages. So we were hoping this happened, and it's cool that you're connecting with people, because I'm out here freaking out. I'm not gonna lie to you. Got this shit in front of me, and I want it out. And then you're talking about like there's somebody there. I'm like, wow.
He's like, let's put a pizza on this thing.
I would not eat that pizza. Fuck that.
Yeah.
I don't give a fuck how good it looks.
You know, AJ. So we have like you do events and we have a crowd here. How does that process happen? Because I asked you the same question, but it was just 3 of us that day on our podcast. Here we obviously have more. So, you know, you talked about her grandfather, and now you talked about the fiance and her son. How is that come about? You just randomly see this energy, you just get this feeling, or what is it that
It's
you...
literally a pull for my solar plexus, for my stomach. It's kind of like it pulls me here and here. So when I'm on stage doing my work, it's a feeling. And sometimes when I'm in a larger crowd, if it's like 100 people or 500 people, I can usually, I wouldn't say all the time, but I can usually know like, hey, I'm in this general section, 3rd row back, or I'm this area, I got so-and-so that's coming through, blah, blah. It's a feeling, and I don't know how to describe it, but it's over the years of doing this work, it's more of a direction, I guess, and that's how it works. So with me, when I do this, I just set the intention, like I meditated, I kind of just set the intention, like whatever happens, I'm going to trust the process. And I think I told you this, like, I don't know what's going to happen. I don't set anything up. I don't prepare for any spirits to come through, but I allow them to step in if they need to step in, even if it's a person that they want to hear from, or if they passed on recently or many years ago, but it's part of the process that's supposed to happen here. So for me, I'm glad whatever's happening is happening. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm glad it still works, is what I'm saying. Yeah. So,
Hey, AJ, I got a question. Is there like a universal language for this?
Oh, yeah.
Because what happens when, like, let's say a Chinese person, you don't speak Chinese?
That's a great question. That's a common question I get. My loved one spoke German, Chinese, Mandarin, Spanish. There is a universal language. It's how the medium works through that. So they're going to use their symbolism, their interpretation, and so on and so forth. So they're going to still communicate with the medium in the same way as English, but in their own language through, I guess, psychic sign language or charades or whatever you want to call it. It's a reference that we continue to build a terminology, a dictionary, whatever you want to call it. But we use those references to help interpret things. So, which is why if you guys ever follow my work or watch any of my YouTubes or TikToks or Instagrams or even live reads, you'll sometimes hear me refer to my family. Oh, they're showing me my mom because of blah blah blah. They're showing me my brother. Or they're showing my dad because there could be many different references in that. And then I've learned to kind of like not just say they're showing me my parents. Now I just learned to say, okay, it's this name, it's that name. So
Yeah.
I've learned over the time to just get to the point.
Yeah, I remember you did that because you brought up my mom's name, Maria, but your mom's
Maria.
picture appeared, right? And you're like,
My
my
mom's
mom's
Maria.
coming up, so is Maria important?
Yeah.
So I remember that's when you
Yeah.
mentioned that.
It's part of symbolism, and I have to understand it. So I always tell people that readings will and can be similar because it's my interpretation and my frame of reference. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
So they'll sound similar or they'll be similar because it's my references. And there are some that are so freaking left field that I've done that are some of the most funniest ones. And like, I think we were just talking about it. I did one in a group event in Riverside. This gal lost her husband. And I'm like, is there any reason why I'm seeing like, I'm hearing Steve Miller Band. I'm hearing
The Joker?
the Joker. Yeah. And I was singing the song and this and that. And she goes like, oh, my husband's name is Maurice. And then afterwards I go like, oh, I thought he was talking about like smoking and toking. And I didn't edit that clip in, but she goes, yeah, he does. And I cut it at that point because I didn't want her to feel bad. But
Yeah.
again, sometimes things just make complete sense to the person. To me, I just pass it down because I always believe if I'm getting information, regardless if I know completely how it's going to come through, I know the person needs to hear it, even if it makes complete sense or not in that moment.
So now Mike held us back.
I'm not playing this shit, fool.
So no, I'm just kidding. But we were kind of like talking about AJ and I. We kind of wanted to open up for any questions about that you guys may have. We want to open a little platform for you guys and ask any questions you may have or about the spiritual world or things like that. So does anybody have any questions that they would want to ask?
I think they do in the back. Yeah, the one that's hiding from me. Yeah.
She has a question?
Yeah. I thought she did. Oh, sorry. I thought she raised her hand. Forgive me.
Anybody? No questions?
Don't be shy.
Don't be shy.
We'll go with you.
I just wanted to add validity to like what you were saying too. Yeah, he had a lot of psychological stuff going on. Yeah, and tomorrow is his mom's birthday actually. Yeah, and then next week it'll be 1 year since he passed away. Yeah.
Sometimes they do that for us, not for the medium, but for you. So this is his way, probably helping you grow through that grieving process, the healing process. And as just me being a human being, not from just a medium perspective, but obviously sorry for the loss of that. But for that journey, I try to stress to people that grief journey is it's not a sprint, it's a marathon. So take your time in that process. There's not a right way or wrong way how to grieve. Do what makes you feel right. But what I can tell you, and I'm laughing because I just get him just with a big cheesy smile, like saying like, don't worry about me. Honestly, like I just feel like that he wants the best for you in the moment, like now. So even though that it's the 1 year anniversary coming up and mom's birthday, pass down those messages because when I change my perspective here, I just kind of get him like with what I would call like the Kool-Aid smile, like a just big happy smile, and I just feel like there's just a way with him that he just comes through like I'm okay, and I need to make sure his mom and that, and even continue to move forward, and just more importantly, and I don't know if I said it already because whatever comes in my mouth I don't even remember, but if I haven't said it today to you, just make sure that you have the approval, like the green light to move forward, like with relationship, with life, because it seems like that there's a sense of that weight that if I move on, I'm going to forget about him. And that's not the case. I feel like he's always going to be that number one. Like I'm still the one. He will still be that one for you still, even if you're in a new relationship. Okay? Okay. Thank you.
Damn. No, this is emotional because like I said, we had an experience and just hearing things like that, because I think that's the hardest part. People moving forward, just moving forward, and everything's gonna be okay. They want the best for us no matter what.
For sure. I mean, I did an event in Whittier on, God, I can't remember. Everything that I did was such a blur. Um, we My uncle passed away from cancer, my dad's brother, and my event was already sold out like weeks in advance, and he passed on during that time frame. They planned the funeral and so on and so forth. So that day that I had to do my event, I was in Montebello or the mortuary, where I think Montebello, I can't remember, but I was there till like 3 o'clock, whatever, and it was just a heavy day, toxic day, celebration of life, like all that stuff. I'm just like everyone else. Like grief affects me, just like anyone. We all want the validation, the healing. And when I got there, it was just kind of like an up and down moment. Like I had to put on a live show, put on a straight face, like everything's fine, everything's good. But it's probably one of the toughest days because I've never had, like, I'm pretty good holding on to my emotions, especially when I have to present myself like in front of people. But it was kind of like there were so many different references of both my uncles in spirit that came through that night. And I just saw it as a sign that, oh shoot, like they're both hanging out together, like they're both safe. And so it's kind of those little things for a medium that makes the biggest validation, even though it's a reading that you guys are receiving. Again, as I mentioned, I'm connecting with my loved ones at the same time. So for me, anytime I get to share a word, a message, answer a question, I'm doing my job. I'm doing my job.
Nice.
Yeah.
Anybody else has a question or anything?
Nobody wants to jump in?
Everyone's
Okay,
too
we
afraid.
got one.
Yeah.
How do you know when there's poltergeist activity and not your loved one?
Knocks. Yeah, no, seriously, knocks. Anytime you hear 3 knocks are always poltergeist activity. Things that are being opened and closed, like doors, windows, things that are moved is not poltergeist activity. Most people would think it's that way. Things that are being moved could be something that we're thinking of, like, so say for instance that we have, I'm sure it happens to many of us here, our cell phone, our keys, our glasses, where we're like, oh my God, I put my keys on the table right here. I know I left them and this and that. And all of a sudden, like, they reappear somewhere else, or they reappear in a different way. There's 2 things that could be happening. Your receptors, logically, are sending 2 signs, like even though they're there, they're telling you like they're not there, and you're overlooking them. That's just me being, skeptical about everything. But then there's things where they're moved, where you specifically know, like I always hang my keys here, and all of a sudden now they're underneath the bed for some reason. Sometimes we would consider that as apports or mischievous spirits. So when things are moved, they're apports where spirits are actually moving things, or where people find pennies like randomly, or dimes, or when I tell people, when you find coins and it reminds you of a loved one, look at the date, because that date could be the year that they died or the year that they were born in. Yeah.
There was another question back there. I think Jacob had a question.
Yeah. So I've been wanting to go to haunted places,
Mm-hmm.
and my girlfriend says that they're attracting me to make me want to go to these places. It's already a trap. I just want clarity from you. Is
I was going to say something mean, but I think your girlfriend's trying to trap you, not the spirits. No, but in all honesty, I think that you just might be more sensitive to certain places or to certain energies. So if you're sensitive to, like, say, small groups or big groups or whatever that looks like, and sometimes you may pick up on certain people's energy of, like, they're sad or they're angry or they're going through certain things, you might be an empath, or feeling their energy and picking that up here. You just might be a little bit more sensitive than maybe her or other people. But I would just say, if you're going to go into these haunted locations or homes or whatever it is, ground and protect yourself. If it's through prayer, meditation, whatever that looks like, do that. But I don't think there's anything attached or after you at all whatsoever. But I just feel like it might be her way trying to make sure you stay home and don't go out. But I wouldn't worry about that, honestly. I'm going to go to this one here. Yeah.
I just have like a quick question.
Yeah.
Because there's a certain loved one that never comes through. Like, I can dream about anybody and I remember everybody, but there's a certain loved one that never comes through. Ever.
That's probably because you have peace and closure with that, because they come through all the time in your dreams. So you don't need a medium to validate your own experiences, because those are personal experiences that you're having, if that makes sense. So when people are like, God, I never dream about my loved one, or I never get a sign, or I never get that, that's because 2 reasons. One, because there's still healing that needs to do, or two, there's a deep grief that is there that's not allowing you to dream, have the signs and have the signals. But for you, you're having the dreams, you're having all this stuff and this and that. Like our loved ones know what you're receiving, so it's kind of like, well, you don't need us because you already have that connection. So yeah, to a medium, it doesn't mean that they're not around you. It doesn't mean that they don't love you. It just means that you just have a special connection, a direct connection. You don't need the medium. As I mentioned earlier, we all have the ability to communicate with our own loved ones. It's not about me when I'm up here. It's about when this event ends, how you continue to keep that relationship with your loved one. That's the whole point of what I do, not about the reading. Okay?
Anybody else? ¿Tienen preguntas ahí arriba?
Yeah, one back here.
I have a question. I've done a live reading with you, and in that reading, you read someone's pet. How can you tell the difference between when a human's coming in as to like a pet?
I love that. Unfortunately, I've lost a lot of like animals, like not a lot, but I mean personal pets in my life. And I've learned over the years to, I guess, get better of understanding breeds. So to me, I'm going to tell you a funny story. So when I was growing up doing this work, 18, 16, 18, probably 16 to like 25. Anytime I saw like a dog, it represented a cat, an iguana, a bird, it represented a pet. So I always knew that someone lost a pet, but I didn't know exactly what the pet was. So over time, I would be like, you have a dog or cat? And then afterwards, I started learning my vocabulary with the pets. So I would ask my guides and ask spirit and ask God, like, give me something else, give me something else. So now, if I need to talk about, say, a terrier, they'll show me like a schnauzer or a Scotty dog or a Yorkie or whatever, or they'll talk about a color. Or two, if I want to talk about a bigger dog, they'll give me a Doberman, or they will give me something like a Chow Chow that's fluffy. So over the years, I kind of learned how to identify dogs, but I'm not always accurate because I don't even know the names of most of these dogs because like cockadoodle, poodle stuff, whatever. Honestly, they're mixed breeds, and most of the time I just know the normal dogs, but I can usually describe their color. Not all the time, but when animals do come through, it's their way expressing love and gratitude towards you. But it's more of an image of what they present me of an animal. So when I see a dog, okay, I go, okay, there's a pet here. Then I go like, okay, what type of dog is that? Or what type of pet is that? And I remember in one of my readings, this was like several months ago. This was like a private, not even a live, was it a live event? I don't even know what it was, but it was a reading. So I was reading this gal, and her son was showing me the Geico commercial. And I'm like, why the hell did you show me? I go, is there some insurance thing? Is there money in this? And everyone's laughing laughing. I think it was an audience event. Everyone's laughing. I'm like, I have no idea what he means. And she goes, well, I don't know if this makes sense, but he had an iguana, a small iguana that passed away afterwards. After he passed away, that showed that iguana was with him in the afterlife. I was seeing a gecko. So again, I've learned now every time now I see a gecko, it's going to represent an iguana. It's going to represent like a dragon thing, like those bearded dragons. So I learned my frame of reference. So over the years, I'm always learning. So even though I've been doing this for work for 22 years, I still don't know everything. I'm always learning, building up new symbolism. I don't want to, and I know you're going to say something, but real quick, part to your story is that when we talk about the symbolism, I've learned it's unfortunate that a lot of people pass from COVID and the this and that, and I don't want to get political, but a lot of people pass, and within this 3 years, immediately within those 6 months when a lot of people were passing and so on and so forth, anytime I saw a ventilator, it represented COVID. So anytime now, even to this day, I see a ventilator, it absolutely is COVID. So that's kind of a new symbol that I built. So there's new things always building over the years. So for me, it's just a dictionary that's always evolving. But good question, though. Thank you.
You're right. I was going to say something. Something just came up to me. All these years, I used to think, who the fuck fucks with me? Now I realize who it was. It's my little turtle. No, shit, you're not. When I was like 8 years old, 9 years old, my mom took us to Mexico, to Michoacan, for a month. And I forgot that I had gotten a turtle at the Swami. And I left it. And when I came back, it was just a shell. There was no water. So I'm like, fuck. This fool came back and is trying to kill me.
You just feel like someone biting on your
I don't
ankles?
mean
or-
that. No, dog. That was fucked up. That was a fucked up story. Sorry. Yeah.
Yeah, that was a
I was
pretty
8 years
fucking
old. I was 8
story.
years old. I didn't know any better. I couldn't take it to Mexico.
But no, animals are a part of our family in the afterlife. I'm not. There are animal communicators that are experts in the field that do this work. I even sat with animal communicators via Zoom and this and that, and I had my own experiences because I had loss of pets, and I'm a big believer into all that stuff, but skeptical with anything else in life, but because of what I do. And I've had some, really good readings, but as a medium, I don't call myself a pet communicator, but animals do communicate with me. And they do work in a very similar manner. It's going to be through images and photos, but what I receive is not as clear as what I would get as from a mediumship reading, even though I'm doing mediumship. I don't know how to describe it, but it's a different vibration is the best word I can say. But I know what I'm communicating with, if that makes sense. Yeah.
Nice. Well, anybody else have a question before we stop the question segment of it?
I'm all for it.
No one? Well, on our show, we have the segment called No Manches. It's pretty self-explanatory. It's a situation that happens every day. Could be a pet peeve, just a situation like
Basically,
that.
no mames. You guys heard no mames.
I was trying to keep it clean, but yeah, so we always end our show with that, one of those things. So I had a situation today, Mike, actually. And Mike, you told me to use the address thing as one, but that's a whole different story. My no manches for today was I went to Vaughn's to buy dog food, right? So I just have one bag of dog food. And you know how they have the express lanes? And it says 15 items or less? I don't understand how people know they don't even have 15 items. They have like 30, 40 items. They have a full cart and they still go in there, And it's like, I can deal with 16, 17, 18 items, but come on, dude. When it's
you separate them. You put 15, you put the chingaderita, and then you put another 15.
and then you just end up paying twice.
I pay with 2 different credit cards. I put my daughter, hey, you got that 15, I got that 15.
But they didn't do that though. So to me, even like the clerk is like, what can they do? They're like, do I tell them, hey, sir, like they already put it on the belt. Just to take it off is gonna be a hassle.
So you trying to be like the police and shit or what?
No,
excuse me, ma'am.
It just has some courtesy, 15 items.
What happens if you get grapes? Fool, there's fucking more than one.
Okay, that's different. But it's
30 grapes in one chingadera.
It's bagged. You can't.
Nah.
People, just everybody out there, just have some simple courtesy.
Then why do they only have one for fucking 15 above, but they have 4 15 and below? And then 3 of them are open, and there's a big ass line for the ones that have like more than 16 items.
First of all,
I'm going in the 15.
First of all, you're already going to a good ass Vaughn's because there's never that many lanes open. Mine, there's like 3 lanes, and that's it, 2 lanes tops. But
you must go to the one on Cameron.
Yeah, for real, right? But anyways, what's your no manches?
My no manches, I'm gonna keep it to the theme Halloween. Like I said, I love Halloween. It's a 2-part no manches, so it's 2 no manches, I guess. First one. Who gives candy out during Halloween? Anybody give candy? Or do you guys do the turn off the light, no trick or treat? I know you guys do that shit.
I try to. We don't get any kids.
Escóndete.
Huh? Gente, wait. Mama. All right, if you give candy out, no mamen, no manchen. Give us some good shit. I know you're Hispanic and shit, and you grew up on the saladitos and the fucking. I don't want that shit. I want the Snickers.
I take the Mexican candy, dog.
I want Snickers, fool. I want fucking M&Ms.
You're like, I want the king size.
I want the king size shit.
Family size.
That's why. Hey, fuck it. We're going to Beverly Hills, fool. They give you fucking.
Brentwood.
And the second part. What's up? Go for
No,
it.
but you know what? They have gotten better, especially stores, because now they do those variety packs where they mix in the mini Snickers with the mini M&Ms.
Okay, no manches. Don't give those shits out. They only have like 2 fucking M&Ms. I want the big ones, fool, that I could last like at least fucking 5 minutes. If I open the bag, fool, and I go like this and there's only 2 fucking M&Ms, I don't want that shit. I don't want that shit. Keep your shit. So no manches. Give some good candy out.
Well, you know what? Let's be happy that you're not trick-or-treating anymore.
That's my second part. That's my second part to my no manches. That's my second part. If you got kids that are like 15, 14, and you still taking them out trick-or-treating just to get candy, no manches.
Hey, there's nothing wrong with that.
They don't. No mames.
There's nothing wrong with that.
No mames. They fucking take the candy from the little kids. I take my 8-year-old. By the time he gets to the door, ya se acabó el candy. ¿Por qué? Because the fucking 10, 12-year-olds and above that came before him took all the candy.
But now whose responsibility is that? Is that the house owner that didn't have enough candy? Or is it the parents' fault?
That's why I said it's a two no manches.
Or is it the parents' fault for going out too late?
What's too late? I want to experience the fucking night. I want it to be terrifying and shit.
Here's the sign. Here's the sign. Once you see that first family start walking, that's your sign. Like, hey, we gotta go. We gotta go because once that first family happens, boom, you just start seeing them all start piling in. So once you see one, that's it. It's time.
I'll be honest though. Last year we went trick or treating, and there was a family that was giving treats to not just kids. They had treats for adults.
Alcohol.
And alcohol. Yeah.
On my street, they do that.
Yeah, it was dope because I tried. I like apple pie. That's one of my favorite
They
pies.
give apple pies?
No.
Oh, okay.
They gave us.
Okay.
The guy said it was this older white dude. Sorry, white people. I don't mean to offend you. He was an older white dude. I live in Redlands, by the way. It's the whitest neighborhood up that way. Okay, in the IE. So, anyways, I live in Redlands. We went around the big houses on the other side of the freeway where the mansions and shit.
Where the haunted houses are.
Where the haunted houses are there. And they were giving candy, and they were giving the white guy was giving. He's like, "Hey, dude, you want to try an apple pie shot?" And I was like, "What the fuck? An apple pie shot?" I'm like, "I tried the Mexican candy shit.
You're like, I want an apple.
Mexican candies and
I
shit.
want a regular apple pie.
Yeah, what's up with the apple pie? Fool, fuck, we haven't ate. Fool. But he's like, I'm like, apple pie shots? What the fuck? Like, that's probably got some nasty white boy shot or something, right? He's like, no, dude, it tastes like apple pie. I was like, I'm not mad, right? So I was like, all right, fool, whatever, give me one. Fool, I was 10 deep, fool, after. I was like, God damn, that tastes like apple pie.
He's one of those guys taking it away from the 40-year-old and shit.
I kept running around.
You're that 30-year-old guy eating them all for the 40-year-old. So there's no more.
I was like, I kept going around. I was like, hey, no, we gotta go trick or treat right there, fool. Like, give shots, fool.
What you do, like switch your costume around or?
Yeah, I was borrowing my kid's mask and I was like, no, fool, flip it inside out and that's weird.
But you know what? That is a tradition that should happen. We should also like celebrate as adults. Make sure we celebrate the Halloween thing.
True, but the fucking thing is, in Hispanic communities, they don't give a shit. They sell tamales.
Hey, I'll
They're
take
doing the
them.
fucking trick or treating. They're like, hey, can I comprar un tamal? I'm like, no mames, güey.
Where is this at? Because I'll be right there. I'll be like, tamales. Give me some tamales de champorado. I'm good. Eh?
Yeah, but I'm not, hey, fool, trick or treat. If I say trick or treat, you gotta give it to me for free. No mames, I'm not paying for that shit.
This is special. Anyways, AJ, what's your no manches for today?
Oh my God, I don't have a new one, but you guys know what it is. As I mentioned before, it's shopping carts. Shopping carts at the grocery store. I hate it with a passion. Where people just leave it right next to it or in the parking spot and don't walk it back.
Then you
I'm
hate
the person
me.
that will walk the shopping cart over, and I will tell people. I said, hey, the thing's right over here, and they will look at me and stare at me like because they'll leave it right by my car, and I just let them just common courtesy.
Yeah,
just like,
yeah.
hey, it's
Bro,
over here, you know.
I'm creating jobs. That's why they got the carrito guy. And he goes, and gets this shit, dog. If I put that shit back in there, they don't need a carrito guy. They have machines that pull that shit in now, dog. I'm creating jobs, so thank you, okay?
You're welcome, you mean.
it is.
You mean you're
Yeah,
welcome.
yeah, you're welcome. Thank
You know, it's funny though because there is a Saul put us on there's a whole Instagram page called Cart Narcs where a guy goes around and literally videotapes people and tells them, "Hey, you forgot to take the cart. Hey, you forgot to take the cart." But yeah, man, you gotta have courtesy. Come on.
Oh man.
Have you been a victim of one of those shopping carts hitting your car or
yeah.
scratching it?
Oh yeah, I have.
Okay, I have.
That's why.
But
It was your own cart.
I didn't park that shit right, and I was getting out. That shit went backwards, fool. No, I have, but there's a way to improperly leave a car. Does that make sense?
Not in front of another car.
Yeah. I mean, come on. If you leave it and it's gonna roll back, because you could tell when you leave it, it starts to roll, fool.
There's a science to this.
There's a science. Like I
You
said,
gotta twist the wheel slightly.
there's a proper way of improperly leaving carts. If you're doing that, hey, fuck you, okay? Do it the right way. Put the shit, like turn it. If they have a little, what's that chingadita called? The bumper? The cement thingy? What the fuck is it
A
called?
curve?
No, not the curve. The little thing in front when you,
Yeah.
yeah, which
There you go.
they should get rid of those shits because sometimes I forget and I drive forward. And it's like, fuck, I fucked up my fucking llanta and shit. So,
And I will attest he does do that.
if who's ever driven with me and they know that I drive crazy? Raise your hands if you've driven with me and you don't drive crazy. There you go. My prima's like, fuck, I don't drive with that for no more.
But you know what's gonna happen because of that? You know, like one of my family's favorite stores is Aldi. Aldi, I don't know if to get a shopping cart, you have to put a quarter in. And then you pull out the cart. And then if you want your quarter back, you have to put it back and it pops it back out. So it's people like you, dog, that's gonna raise inflation, dog. It's gonna go from a quarter to a fucking dollar because people they don't want to pay the workers, the shopping cart workers.
Hey, fool, I can afford a quarter.
Anyways, ready to move on to today we're gonna make it a little different. We usually end our show with words of wisdom, where our guest has some words, obviously, of wisdom. Pretty basic, self-explanatory. But I think, do you want to leave any messages or anything for the people here?
Oh, wow. Well, as I mentioned to your prima, even though that I'm up here and yes, I do this work and all that good stuff, it's never about the medium. It's always about the message. It's always about how you guys continue to keep that door open of communication. I'm just one person. James is one person. Everyone that has a gift in its own capacity, everyone has their own ability, their own craft, their own niche, whatever you want to call it. It's an ability, and we all have that ability to communicate with our own loved ones. It just depends on how much we work with that ability. I just work with mine a little bit differently, and I pay a little bit more attention to it because it's like an antenna. I just tune into the radio a little bit louder than others, and I pay attention to that frequency, and I just tap into it, and I listen to that frequency, and I recognize the messages that are coming through. All of us can tune in our antennas to communicate with our loved ones. So if it's more of a thought, a dream, a feeling, a scent, a drawing, someone bringing up an old memory, those are all messages and signs that your loved ones are trying to get across to you, either directly or indirectly or in a very subtle way. Most of us are all looking for the big message in the sky and like, what's the message? What's the sign? And this and that. It's not going to happen that way, guys. It's going to happen in a very subtle way. And don't get me wrong. There may be moments that you leave this event tonight and you may see one of your loved ones on the side of a truck or their birth date or their initials on a license plate. And you're like, wow, that's super cool. I never noticed that. You guys might recognize the ability to communicate with your loved ones just by doing that. So once you recognize that, just kind of see me as kind of like someone just planting a seed or you guys planting that seed for your own loved ones, because our loved ones are truly and merely just a thought away. So in those moments that you think about them, they're right there with you, 100%.
Cool.
You got anything else, Mike?
Well, I did, but I don't want to piss them off. I was gonna say, how are the parties when all the psychics get together?
What happened?
Like, well, how are the parties? Like, I'm imagining like you guys are just fucking having this like
they're just communicating without talking.
like these fucking badass parties for they're like, oh hell yeah.
No, honestly, I think that's kind of the last thing that we do talk about is our work.
Okay.
Right? I think I don't know if that speaks for you, James, but I mean for us, we don't talk about the stuff unless we do share about hey have you ever had this happen or this. I mean, it's more of that stuff, but rarely we're over here working with it's foil in our head and talking to people. You know what I mean? It's not like that. We're over here just having a conversation, talking, living our best life. We all, have a life. We all have, a significant other, family, friends, all that good stuff. And we just do our normal things. It's not like we're freaking, what do you call them, a slot machine and you put a quarter in us and we spit out information. It's going to happen at the right time when we're working. So just like you guys are going to be working 24 hours, 7 days a week at your job. Right?
Yeah.
Because you're gonna be tired, you need sleep and rest, just like me. I'm not gonna keep my battery running all the time. So when there's a point in time to work, I clock in and clock out. I turn on and turn off the same way, just like anyone else does when they decompress or come together. Even today, like I think I was talking to you, or I don't know who I was talking with in the back. I said like, oh, like after my group reading, I was done about 3:30 for the day, and I'm like, all right, I'm gonna get some rest. And then my wife, my dog, and this and that, and everything was happening. And then I said, oh, I'm gonna wash my car and after I was like, I'm tired. And so about the time I'm about to lay down, my alarm clock went off. I'm like, I got to go to LA. And so again, it's part of that time that you got to find time to decompress. And which is part of it coming here early for me was to decompress and find some time while you guys were setting up. So again, we all have to find our time to find those right moments. Yeah.
Cool. I do want to say thank you again for coming.
Well, thank you guys.
No,
Thank you guys. Thank you
It's
to your
Saturday.
team. Thank you to everyone.
Thank you, Melvin, for our host.
We
Our
appreciate
comedian,
Melvin. Yeah.
Thank you.
Our videographer. Thank you guys, Saul, the sound guy.
Hey, actually, I want to bring these guys up at least to the front of the stage, man, because they do a lot of the work, Eric.
Yeah.
And so we'll come up here, man.
Yeah.
We
Hey,
really
come on,
appreciate
come
you
on.
guys.
And I'll put this away.
Yeah, put that shit away, dog. 'Cause
We want you guys to come up. We want to show them some love because they do a lot of the behind the scenes and a lot of the work, and they make these things happen. So we really appreciate that.
Yeah.
And AJ, thanks again. Everybody, thank you. You guys made our live show, super fun and exciting. And honestly, I felt super comfortable, and I really appreciate that.
Yeah, I was nervous at first, but now I think I haven't even drank. I stopped drinking. usually I couldn't get up. Usually I get fucked up. feel comfortable, but I feel comfortable. I love the reception from the audience. But where was I going with this shit? I was gonna say something. Oh yeah,
You don't have fear.
Hey, I did not see you guys drinking. What the fuck? The bar is right there, guys. Come on, support Melvin.
After party,
All right.
yeah.
Melvin, do we have time after? Like, can you chill? Oh shit, hey, AJ's gonna be here for a little bit. Try not to bug him with a lot of questions. Okay, no free shit tonight, guys. But he is gonna be here. If you guys want to mingle around and chill for a little bit, we're gonna be here for a little bit. You're welcome to stay. So don't feel like you gotta go. Okay. Thank you.
And I want to say thank you guys, honestly, to everyone here, everyone that showed up, everyone on the team, everyone for being here, because all of us are supposed to be here together, either if we were forced here, dragged here, working here. Again, I always believe there's a part of that process to be.
He looks like he got dragged.
Right, to be part of it in some capacity.
He's just been chilling like,
But again, there's a purpose for everything, regardless if you believe it or not or whatever it is. But truly, to you guys and your teams, everyone, for doing the podcast, because as I made it, gave that attention earlier, is that you guys are sharing this platform for an individual like myself to share that awareness. So with people like you are doing some good work. So thank you guys, truly.
We appreciate that. I appreciate that.
Doña Chuy, ya vamos a terminar. Una limpia porque tocó esa madre.
Actually, I gotta say, we gotta say bye, right? To the Ouija board.
No, we didn't open or close it.
Okay, cool.
We're good. Yeah.
Once again, everybody, you guys are welcome to hang out. We're gonna have some drinks with you guys.
Halloween, the day before Halloween, the episode drops. So make sure you stay tuned if you want to see this episode and see yourselves. October 30th, right?
Yes.
Monday.
And and I'm gonna put it out there too. If you guys do follow me on my socials, probably Instagram or TikTok, you'll probably see me doing a bunch of LA shows, radio shows. So if you hear me on multiple different radio shows,
Power 106, 92.3, I heard you.
Power 106, Big Boy, Cruise Show, Coast 103.5. I think Love Songs on the Coast.
Say hi to Letty for me.
Yeah, so yeah. So Kiss FM, you're gonna hear me on a bunch of different
Who the
stations.
fuck is Mike?
Yeah, I'll say this dude. She goes, no.
You said Coast?
Coast, yeah. Actually, that was my. That's,
Luscious Liz, dog.
let's just Liz. No,
I've had a crush on her since I was
I think Liz is on the wave now.
Oh, okay, the wave.
Yeah, she's on the wave. Yeah,
Luscious Liz. If you're hearing this,
Liz Hernandez.
Oh yeah, Liz Hernandez. I mean, come to our show, please. No, she's
amazing.
She's a badass.
Yeah, she's amazing. Yeah.
So like you said, you can find this you'll find it on YouTube, Spotify, all the links. And also next week, the host is having a Halloween party. So if you guys want to come by, come dressed up, there's going to be a party cracking here. So make sure you guys come down.
Awesome.
Thank you.
All right, thank you guys, everybody. Thank you.